2 days after catching heat for lecturing about black history to students who already knew it at Washington, D.C.'s Howard University, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul spoke at another historically black school today, Simmons College, right here in Louisville. WHAS 11's political editor Joe Arnold was there as Rand Paul appealed for African-American votes. Joe?
And Doug, he was direct in his appeal. Quote, "I'm trying to figure out how to get more votes," the Republican told the group today, adding he's their senator too, despite overwhelming support for Democrats by African Americans.
But I don't know what the easy answer is necessarily.
Rand Paul was talking about education, but he could have just as well been talking about the uphill climb for Republicans to make inroads in the African American community.
I think they just gave up. They gave up on thinking they had a chance with their vote. And I'm not willing to give up.
Speaking at the historically black Simmons College west of downtown, Paul showed the first steps in what appears to be a very long journey for Republicans to gain trust among blacks. It includes admitting past mistakes.
This is a mistake that I think Reagan or some Republicans maybe want to talk about the welfare queen and imply it's a black person on welfare when maybe it's a rich CEO who makes $7 million a year who's white. Who's getting it?
That's going to be a monstrous challenge. You have a lot of people who are setting their mind, and they're not going to bend.
But Paul may have gained one convert today. 73-year-old Abigail Taylor says her grandson's a Republican, and now she might convert too.
I've been a Democrat all my life. And so when I got through talking to him, I think about changing over to Republican.
Why?
Taxes, waste of money. Didn't see no progress with the money.
But where it is, my brother, where is it? We will never have it if we continue to keep talking about budgeting. Why? Why do we keep talking about budgeting? I want to hear about that. Give me a free school.
A student from a different university was escorted out after cursing during a question to Paul. James Johnson was also frustrated after asking Paul about jobs.
He just beat behind the bush about the answer. I want a direct answer that, yes, what does this platform stand for?
And clarification as well, asked by Simmons College President Dr. Kevin Cosby to clarify whether Paul supports the Civil Rights Act of 1964 protecting access to public accommodations. Paul says his views have been misrepresented in the past and that he now agrees with the outcome of that landmark legislation. Joe Arnold, WHAS 11 News.
And Rand Paul convinced more African Americans to vote Republican. WDRB's Lawrence Smith explains how he's trying to turn the tide ahead of a possible presidential run. Lawrence?
Earlier this week, Rand Paul visited Howard University, a historically black college in Washington, D.C. Today, he came here to Kentucky's oldest black college, Simmons College, to try and change the recent history of the African-American vote.
The Simmons College has a rich tradition.
Rand Paul was literally surrounded by that tradition, the images of Kentucky's civil rights pioneers, as he tried to make his case to a new generation of African Americans. Paul noted that blacks historically voted Republican until the mid-20th century and made it clear this was about trying to win those votes back.
Because in the end, the Republican Party, I think, will no longer be a national party if we don't somehow attract African American vote, Latino vote, Asian American vote, and we haven't been doing very well.
For an hour, Paul answered questions and made his conservative case on a range of issues.
The Republican Party's not hostile. The Republican Party's not hostile to civil rights, to civil liberties.
It was a civil discussion, except for one brief interruption.
Why? Why do we keep talking about budgeting? I want to hear about that. Give me a free school.
The man was escorted out, school officials saying he was not a Simmons student. It was evidence that any change will not come easy, but Simmons president commended Paul for reaching out.
I'm not sure that the students will leave here and support us Stand for Rand rally, but the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step, and I think this was an important first step.
And it was not lost on the students.
I think it was a sincere conversation. I think it's much needed within this kind of community.
Would you, in the future, consider voting for Rand Paul?
In the future, possibly.
Rand Paul says he has not made up his mind about running for president, but it's clear by his coming here that he is not writing off the black vote.
We haven't done very well, but I think some of it's we're not trying hard enough, so I'm going to try harder.
Last year, Mitt Romney received just 5% of the black vote, but Simmons president says this event is a signal that Democrats should not take the African American vote for granted. Lawrence Smith, WDRB News.